Hello friends! Today I want to show you another tutorial with Chibitronics. I'm using here this little sweet dynamite set from clearly Besotted. I think this one is retired, but they have other ones that are very cute, or you could use any other brand that you may have. I'm stamping here the two volcanoes and I'm masking them off and stamp them again. So I created a volcano landscape background. I'm stamping here with my Memento Tuxedo black ink because later I want to use my Copic markers to blend some shadows in, even if I'm using distress inks later. But now for my little dinosaurs I'm using here my Copic marker also. I'm basically using the same gray markers for all the dinosaurs, but I'm using different colors to make them a little bit looking different, because I thought pictures of dinosaurs in different colors, in purple, in orange, in blue, in yellow, and all these colors, so I thought it would be nice to try this technique. Here you can see the flying dinosaur in orange. I didn't like the color for my card, so I colored him again and used some green markers, but I totally forgot to change to put my camera on so you could see it. So I'm very sorry you can't see this particular coloring, but you can see all the others, and it's always the same technique I'm using. Herefore, I'm using my W5, W3, and W1 Copic markers. These are some warm gray markers, and I'm using RV00 for the cheeks for all my dinosaurs, and the different colors to give them some extra color. I didn't like the orange because I didn't want to put a new color in my landscape because it is very colorful and I didn't want it to be too much. I hope it makes sense for you and you can understand all the things I'm telling, but I think it makes. For all my dinosaurs I'm using some dot tech. I'm using a dot technique also, so they have more texture. Here for my landscape, I fuzzy cut the volcano, but not the the highest part of the volcano where the lava will be later, because I want to stamp it from some vellum because I want it to be shiny later. Now I'm laying all my images down. I fuzzy cut them and added some details. I made black eyes, and now you can see all the pieces I die cut, and I'm coloring my pieces with my distress inks. For the sandy part I'm using antique linen and, let me check, Gather Tricks, and I'm coloring all my parts, and with the gathering tricks I create some darker places, and this makes the landscape looking really real. Now it looks messy, but this part will be covered with the other pieces, so I didn't care. And here for my sandy part I'm using some Copic markers and used my dotted technique again because I thought the whole landscape needed a lot of texture. And for the volcanoes I'm using here my distress and my Copic markers also. For my background I'm using Sapphire, Wilted Violet and Picked Raspberry Distress ink and created an ink blended background. And to create some texture I'm using some water and splattered it all over my background, and I'm using here some shimmer spritz later to create a little bit shiny and textured background also. I find it is a lava looking landscape, so I want the landscape to look like a volcano is exploding and there are in every place some stones and all the things a volcano explodes out. I hope it makes sense. So um, I guess you know what I want to say. For my grass piece, I'm using here some Twisted Citron Distress ink, and you can see that my ink blending isn't the perfect, but for me it was totally okay because nobody will realize my ink blending because the scene will be really busy. Now I'm taping my parts together and you can see now how this will look like. And now I'm starting with my technical part. I'm laying everything down so I know where to hide my battery, and I like to die cut a circle piece. Sorry, for your information, I want the switch to be behind the stones. So on my lava panel, I'm die cutting a circle out. This is where my battery will be, so I can hide the thickness a little bit. And sorry for this confusion. Now I'm stamping my top part from the volcano on vellum with StazOn ink. And on the back side, it's really important that it is the back side, I'm coloring with my Copic marker some pink and orange lava. I know it doesn't make sense that lava is pink, but for me it was totally okay as I only have pink and orange LEDs. So I thought it is really cool if the whole scene is on the same colors, and I guess nobody will realize that it isn't really real. And I'm taping it behind my volcanoes, and I'm fuzzy cutting all things. Now I already placed my LEDs and I'm using here my Chibitronics stencil to trace my LEDs in, and I start to create my circle using a little piece of copper tape and my bone folder. And normally this part could be really easy because you just would need to make a straight line, but as the volcano and the mountains are different heights, I didn't want the copper tape to be seen from behind, so this is why I make this very intricate. My copper tape teared. It wasn't my. I didn't want this, so in case you are trying to make this, try to leave your copper tape on one piece. The connection always will be better, but I think in this time I had good luck and everything was working without any trouble. Now I have to create the other string for my LED circuit, and as always this little white piece of paper will be my switch later. And I think the most difficult parts are always to build your card together, not the circuit itself, because this one is a really easy circuit. This one is just a parallel circuit with a relatively easy switch, but it is always challenging to try to hide the thickness or to make this work exactly how you planned it, or so. Now I didn't want that the mountain would shine, so I'm using here some black cardstock behind my mountain. I just wanted the lava pieces to shine, but at the end I think it doesn't really make a difference, because I think in this case it would be good also if the mountains were shining. So you could totally leave the step, And now I'm taping down my foam tape. This is one layer of foam tape, and I'm using here my Tomomoni multi glue because I want some wiggle room for my top panel I'm placing down now. Otherwise, if I wouldn't do this step, on the place I tape my panel, it would stay there. And now if I don't place it exactly, I can switch it a little bit as I want it. So now you can see everything is still working, and now I want to tape my second layer on top, and I'm tracing in the pieces where I need to put my foam tape, and I'm cutting out the piece for the battery also. It will be covered from the front layer of the grass and the stones, so nobody would see it, but so it is really hard for me to explain, sorry. But it makes sense because you have this extra high from the two paper layers, and then the switch works better. And you put now on the front panel, you put glue only on the left and on the right side. In the middle where the battery is, you don't put glue because otherwise the circuit would be connected all the time and the battery and the lights would shine all the time. Now I used some press sentiment from Heavy Doodle, and I stamped it in the middle of these little stones. And now the card is coming together. For my flying dinosaur, I'm using foam tape, as the card already has really much foam tape. I thought it would be okay, and now you can see it, but it was working. And for my dinosaurs and the stones, I'm using here some Copic markers to give them some shadow, because otherwise I think this would look a little bit flat. And now, as always, my sentiment. I didn't forget the sentiment, but all the time I wasn't sure where to put it. So at the end, I thought it would be really cool to put it on this volcano, and I was really happy it was working, because I was really afraid that maybe I would mess the card by stamping the sentiment. Now you can see this is my dinosaur volcano lava landscape shining card. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial for today. Here you can see some more Chibitronic tutorials I made in the past, in case you are interested. And until the next time, I hope you have a great day. Bye!